where we can be able to provide them a cash offer that we can buy their property. We can provide them an opportunity to list their home on the market as we're licensed real estate agents. And then if both those options don't work, if the cash offer isn't enough for them, they don't want to list their property because X, Y, and Z. We also have an option where we can offer them creative financing options where we can acquire their property, maybe take over their mortgage payments, or offer some kind of like possible a seller financing arrangement where they finance the property to us and they become the bank and we take over the property and we'll go rent it out or something like that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where I, Kyle, from Kyle Curtin Real Estate, interview local top dogs in the real estate investing, wealth building, and personal finance industries. Let's build together. What's up, guys? This week's guest on the podcast is absolutely incredible and creating a very large multiple business vision in the real estate investing space. Justin has an out-of-this-world story and an exceptional vision for what he is building. This is another two-part interview because there is such an amazing story and so much value to take from this conversation. This episode is for absolutely anyone at any point of your life, and there is tons to learn about a bunch of different topics. In this episode, we get into Justin's enormous vision for his company, Homepoint LLC, constantly growing and learning from failure, being authentic while building your brand, and so much more. There is so much to take away from this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right into the episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 56 of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Today, we have the great pleasure of chatting with Justin Dion. He is the founder of Homepoint. Oh, whoops, I messed up.
I'm sorry. All good.
My bad.
Let's go.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 56 of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Today, we have the great pleasure of chatting with Justin Dion. He is the founder of Homepoint LLC, a Massachusetts-based real estate acquisitions company. What's going on, Justin? What's new? How are you, man?
Man, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to chat with you today.
The pleasure is all mine, man. Thank you so much for coming on. So yeah, to kind of jump right into things, if you could kind of talk about like what you do, like a little bit about your company and like your backstory and kind of how you got started.
Yeah, man, of course. So I'm the founder of Homepoint LLC. Homepoint is a Massachusetts-based real estate acquisitions company, as you lovely said. So essentially what that means is that we specialize in sourcing off-market real estate opportunities. So I sat down a few years ago and I decided, what did I want to achieve in life? And I wanted to buy real estate properties. And I figured, all right, what's the best way of getting there? At that time, I was a licensed real estate agent helping other people buy and sell, which wasn't really getting me closer to my goals. It was very highly intrinsic value that I received from it because I loved helping, especially first-time home buyers, be able to buy a home. But it wasn't getting me to where I need to be with my goals. So I sat down and I said, all right, well, what if I became the person who just found really good deals? Then the sky's the limit. I could do whatever I wanted from there because that's the hardest part in real estate for a lot of investors. So I sat down, had that realization, and then I started thinking, all right, how can I go about this? How can I achieve my vision? And I came up with the idea of starting a company where we completely focused on finding these deals, finding homeowners that want to sell at a reasonable price that made sense for both of us. That was a win-win where we could really help them out in whatever situation they're in. And it obviously helps us out because we have a really good investment opportunity. So that's what we kind of went on and did about right at the beginning of the pandemic, early 2020. I got an office in Milford, Massachusetts. I got a couple of my buddies together. I told them about what I wanted to do, and they were all in on it. And we just started hitting the ground running and essentially trying to find homeowners that wanted to sell and just kept running with it. And right now, that's like our main focus is just trying to provide as much value as we can for homeowners that want to sell, where we can be able to provide them a cash offer that we can buy their property. We can provide them an opportunity to list their home on the market as we're licensed real estate agents. And then if both those options don't work, if the cash offer isn't enough for them, they don't want to list their property because X, Y, and Z. We also have an option where we can offer them creative financing options where we can acquire their property, maybe take over their mortgage payments, or offer some kind of like possible a seller financing arrangement where they finance the property to us and they become the bank and we take over the property and we'll go rent it out or something like that. So that's kind of where we're at now. We're just kind of keep growing from here and just seeing what the future really holds. I mean, once you have the deals, like the sky's the limit, and we're moving in different directions all the time, and it's just leading us to all-time highs of things that we can do. So we're just kind of just running with it and building out from here.
That's incredible, man. That really is awesome. Especially like, at the start of COVID too, you know what I mean? Like what a time to start.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a difficult time for a lot of people. And like the great thing there is like, we were actually able to help out a lot of families in that situation that had a hard time selling or couldn't sell or couldn't sell traditionally, I should say, which was, obviously, like I said, I get that intrinsic value from really just helping out a homeowner, which was awesome for me. I still got to be able to do that and still able to push myself towards my long-term goals and still the same, which is incredible.
I love that. So what kind of areas do you guys cover? Like, is it like all of Massachusetts or?
Yeah, so we started out targeting specifically like Boston and surrounding areas, but we have partnered up with people all over the world, really. So we have connections with investors nationwide. So if we have a deal anywhere in the U.S., we'll have partners where we'll be able to acquire that property 9 times out of 10. Now, some properties obviously wouldn't work, but the majority of them will. Like, so long as the numbers make sense, we can figure it out, we can make it work, and we can make a deal there. Just the numbers got to make sense. But our traditional and our primary market, I should say, is the 495 belt towards Boston. That's our favorite market. And then like our secondary market is like the rest of Massachusetts, Rhode Island. We're just starting to target a little bit in New Hampshire as well. And then like we're slowly hitting some other markets as well. But we're able to provide homeowners solutions nationwide right now, which is nice.
That's awesome, man. That's really great. So like, do you guys typically like to, I assume you like market to off market sellers and stuff, or like just kind of a lot of relationships or both? What's kind of your bread and butter?
Yeah, so we really specialize in dealing off market. I mean, obviously, like I said, there's some licensed agents on my team. I'm a licensed agent as well. I don't really use my license that much though, although I'm starting towards doing that a little bit more. We run across a lot of homeowners that do want to put their home on the market. And, obviously our main goal is to be able to be a one-stop shop for a homeowner where we can provide, A to Z solutions. So there's no reason not to work with us, right? We sit down, they tell us their situation and we say, all right, here's what I recommend, but here's the 7 other options for you. And feel free to choose any of them. And here's how they would work. And here's the pros and cons of each of these. And that's our main goal. And I want to scale that and I want to keep growing with that as best I can. So, we're diving more into that where I'm actually getting my broker's license right now so I can open up a brokerage and we can keep on scaling that. And I want to make it so every time one of our agents goes on a listing appointment, those homeowners get a cash offer. So they have an option now of, either getting a quick, easy transaction already done for essentially, no hassles, no contingencies as is. Or if they want to try to maximize and get more bang for their buck, they can go ahead and go try to put it on the market. And even then still, they put it on the market, they don't get any bites, our offer's still there, which is awesome for them. So I'm just trying to scale what we're kind of already offering right now and just keep growing it.
That's phenomenal, man. I love how like you're able to kind of give the sellers like a choice as well of like, what kind of works for their situation. And like, some people like just need to, get rid of the property for X, Y, and Z reason, or, some people might want to list it as well and try and get, as much as they can for it. That's really cool, to be able to just kind of come to them and be like, hey, here's like 3 different things that you can do. Here are like the pros and cons for each one. Like, what do you like best? Like, we can do all of them.
Exactly. We're trying to consider ourselves as a complete homeowner, like a home solutionist, where we're a one-stop shop. And, if we're able to really achieve that, I mean, the sky's the limit for everything that we want to achieve. And it's obviously most beneficial for a homeowner to want to work with us, right? Because there's not a lot of people, if there are any people in our area that's able to offer all those options, which is incredible,
Of course. So we kind of got into it a little bit, but what's kind of like your drive and your vision for the long term with Homepoint?
Yeah, definitely, man. So it's definitely building out ancillary vertical integrated businesses. And what I mean by that is right now, essentially, we have a kind of a mix of two companies that I want to subdivide at one point, where we're going to build out a marketing company that strictly focuses on sourcing off market deals. And that's all they do. That they find the deals and they give them to investors or our ancillary company. Our ancillary company is a real estate acquisitions company where they buy the properties. They'll buy them from our marketing company. They'll buy them from other ways of sourcing the deals, any way possible. And that company will be fixing and flipping properties primarily. A third company will be our long-term hold and raising private capital and doing syndications company, where we'll be raising private capital. We'll be buying properties from our marketing company. We'll be buying properties from our fix and flip company. And they'll be raising private capital to keep those long-term rentals going, to get residual cash flow, to build appreciation and achieve the vision, as I told you, as I want to own a lot of properties. But that company is also going to be responsible for doing syndications, meaning that they're going to be the general managing partners on large 100, 200, upwards to 500 unit property buildings. Where we'll be acquiring private money to be able to buy those, and they'll be the ones managing those as well. Aside from that, we'll also be starting a real estate brokerage, as I touched on, where it kind of entwines with the marketing company as well, because that marketing company is going to be our own Zillow, if you will. We're going to be able to provide all the leads to the brokerage, where the agents are able to bite off all those and get a piece of the pie off those, and be able to have a lead manager that sends leads to either listing agents because it makes more sense for a listing, or it could send leads directly to our acquisitions department because it makes more sense for the acquisitions. And they can all bite off each other and send leads to each other and work with each other. And that's the whole point of building these companies, so they can entwine and integrate with each other. We also have a data company that's in the works right now, where we offer solutions for real estate agents and investors, like softwares. Right now we have a skip tracing software that we built out. Essentially built out a bot that will take a list of homeowners, and it'll scour the internet and find phone numbers, emails, and resources to get a hold of these homeowners for other real estate agents and investors. So we're going to keep on growing that company. And then, we'll obviously have like coaching, training, mentoring for other real estate agents and investors as well. Like, we have a lot of stuff, obviously, I want to achieve, but they all entwine with each other. They all make a lot of sense because of that. Like, they all work hand in hand, and they're kind of all being started right now, if you will. Like our like I said, once you have the deal, everything else follows. So we're finding the deals, we're getting the money from that, we're essentially generating the capital for that. And I'm just going to keep taking the money that we make from all these and just reinvesting and growing these other ancillary arms out.
That's absolutely incredible, man. Like, just to create like all those businesses and like literally, just kind of be that one-stop shop of like, if something doesn't work here, just bounce it over to these guys, and like, just be able to, like you said, like bite off each other, and like, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how far it gets, but I mean, there's no reason for it not to really achieve its full potential there, because they once one is built, it's just going to benefit the rest of them, and that's going to keep going, and there's no reason to stop that cycle, really. That's why, like, these very large companies that's how they're built. They either buy or they build. And a lot of them buy because they have that power to do so. And they'll buy companies that are vertical integrated with their other companies, or even they'll buy their competitors at a horizontal level, and they'll take over the game that way too. It's whatever way you want to go. It just, with real estate, it makes so much sense to be able to do this. There's so many opportunities. You could build out roofing companies, landscaping companies, all these individual helpful services for homeowners, just because you already have the homeowners. You already have that trust with them. You already are building the connections there. So essentially you have all the customers already. So you have the ability to continue to build all the rest of the stuff. So essentially, like, that's our vision. And we're just trying to right now find the right people that want to join and grow this vision with us. And because that's really what matters, is having the right people around you, and having the right people that see that vision and want to actually achieve it with you. Because I can't do it myself. I don't plan to do it myself. I just want a piece of the pie, and I just want to grow it out. Because I just want to, one of the main visions is to build the company into a household name. I want people to know about us nationwide and know about the name nationwide. It's just a life goal of mine to be able to create something like that. So,
of course. Yeah. And even like, kind of like you said, like, going from the direction of, at first, like finding the deals and everything, and then like everything opening up from there. Like, it's incredible, man. I mean, like, there's a lot of people out there right now, that might have the capital and stuff, but the deals are few and far between. So to be able to be the guy, that has the leads or the, the deals, and then be able to, kind of disperse them as necessary, for kind of what you're looking for. And it's, really something special.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the sky's the limit with that for sure. I mean, it just opens up all the doors you really need opened. Especially starting out for us. And it's just it's been obviously has its roller coasters of problems and things that come along the way. But like realistically, it's all just learning experiences and just getting us to the next level every time something comes up. So it's honestly like those are all beneficial. All those roadblocks that come up along the journey, like that's all necessary and it's all beneficial, because without those, we wouldn't be able to get to where we need to go.
Exactly. It's huge in growth, whenever something like that comes up, and like, even like to the level of, just going through like one transaction or something, like little like road bumps and like hurdles and stuff that come up, just going over those, figure out how to get over those. And then, the next time that comes up, you'll be able to, either, solve that as necessary or, what have you. But yeah, there was, there was, so me and, a couple of the other agents on our team went down to New Orleans for like the Biggerpockets conference thing. And Brandon Turner, he was given like a keynote, and it really spoke to me, man. Like talking, right about this. He's like, basically whatever you're gonna do is probably gonna suck, but it's a matter of like, if you have the passion to keep pushing through it, and like basically embracing it and not like, just give up halfway through. And like, that really spoke to me, man. I'm like, am I the only one that's having a hard time with this right now? Or like, no, it's a common thing. And like, I don't know. It was something crazy, and like tying right into this, whenever something comes up that isn't as desirable, to have the passion and the vision to keep moving forward past that. And like, just kind of accepting that things are going to happen, that don't go in your favor. And just have the passion to keep moving forward and get through it.
Yeah, man, I think it really all stems down to your mindset and like where your thoughts are, right? Because like once you have that understanding on like on a high level where you're going to fail, you're going to go into whatever you're going to try, and you have to. It's not that you're going to, you have to. Otherwise, there's no growth. If you get it right the first time, you lost at the end of the day. And if you have that mindset when you go into something, and when you are like, you hit a roadblock, something comes up and you're starting to beat yourself up a little bit about it. And then your mind kicks in like, wait, this had to happen. This was supposed to happen. This is beneficial because what's happening here? I have to learn through this now. And that's where real personal growth comes in. And like, for me, one thing I learned about my life is like, if I'm not growing, I'm dead. Like if I stopped learning, if I stopped moving forward, like a shark, right? I think if they stop swimming, like they always got to go forward. If they stop, they die, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, can't go back. I think so. Yeah.
I don't know, but like you gotta keep on growing and learning. And if you stop doing that, like what are you doing? And that's how I view life right now. And it's like, I completely focus on personal growth and trying to level up every single day. And failure is the only way to get there. You have to fail to really, really learn something. So it's about your mindset right there. And when you have that mindset, you're very powerful to be able to learn at an exponential rate. And that's why I like doing podcasts and like having my podcast as well, because you get to learn from everyone else's failures as well, and be able to really capture those. And although it's not the same as failing yourself, you get a little bit of it. But realistically, how you really learn is going through it yourself, hitting some roadblocks and figuring it out the gritty way, and learning for yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Let's talk a little bit about your podcast. I want to learn more about it.
Yeah,
and,
sure, man.
Kind of like your experience like so far and stuff like that. And
yeah, man. So, my podcast, it's called the Homepoint Experience. The main mission is to essentially share our experiences that we go through, our day-to-day of growing a real estate business, as long as well as the people we meet along the way, like yourself, where we can just discuss their experiences and be able to share those experiences with the world, essentially what I was just touching on. The main reason for that is, I love to educate, I love to coach, I love to teach people especially about real estate, because I'm very, very passionate about real estate. I get a lot of value from helping other people, especially if I help them and they were able to do something with that value. It's incredible for me. And I'm sure you experienced that a little bit as well. So it's been great, man. I mean, the more so, like, I don't have a crazy audience that are listening to it all the time, but realistically, the most beneficial thing I've gotten from the podcast, which I'm sure you can attest to as well, is the value that you get as a host, being able to interview and interrogate these people about anything they're doing, and you're able to ask them any question you want and be able to, say you're working on something in your business, and you can just grab someone that's working on that or has already solved that or beyond that, hop on a podcast with them. They get to showcase their story, and you get to pick their brain and learn everything you want to, so you can forego that experience of it's pretty much like you're failing and they're giving you the answers. Like, okay, so what did you do when you were going through that? Okay, you did this. Okay, now I'm going to go and do that too. And problem solved. So that's been the most incredible thing for the podcast, like, so far, is being able to have these high level conversations, not just have them because I can go to any networking event and have those, but really hold myself accountable to have them, because it forces me, all right, I want to be consistent. I want to be putting out these podcasts on a regular basis. So now I have to go find people and have these conversations with. So it puts me more in a state of accountability, realistically, to have deep level conversations with high level people. That's been it's been a great experience so far. I mean, we're only at, like I said, we did our 16th episode this week, and it's been super valuable. And I've been having a great journey with it as well. And, like, aside from the podcast, I'm really trying to triple down on just creating content in general. So I've been very active in creating TikToks, trying to grow an audience, build a community of people that want to learn about the game. And it's been cool. I have a couple videos go viral, and it's been a fun experience of doing that and being able to provide the value to these people. Them being able to get intimate and ask me a question, me make a video real quick, answering it for them. And then, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 other people see that video and they get value as well is absolutely incredible.
I know. I totally agree with you, man. It really is, like, just such a powerful, like, value exchange. You know what I mean? Like, as host, as well as, for the audience as well, to be able, well, and the other person, the interviewee, I should say. But yeah, I mean, like, I totally agree. Like, I feel like there's just value for everybody, like, when you do something like this. And, like, it's been a lot of fun, to just be able to have people on, tell their story, in the meantime, like, to create the relationship with them, for, like, potentially things in the future or what have you, as well as being able to, like, ask those questions and, like, give that, like, have them give you the answers, which then you can share with your audience as well. So, like, that's my thing too, man, is, like, I love being able to, like, learn from somebody at one time and then everybody else be able to learn as well. It just, I don't know. It just feels so like, what is it? Like, warm, I guess you could say, because, like, everybody's benefiting somehow, like the social media stuff too, man. I want to stem on that a little bit. It's difficult, like, it's been hard for me actually recently. We were talking about it a little bit before we started, to create, like, consistent content and stuff like that. And, like, for me, like, it's not like the podcast itself necessarily that's been difficult to get out. I mean, it still takes, like, at least a couple hours to edit and everything. But for me, it's more or less like the social media, because, like, I'd love to kind of cut up the podcast into, like, highlight clips and stuff and put them on, like, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and just spread them around. But, like, that stuff takes time, man.
Oh yeah.
And it's not easy, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really powerful thing. And the sky is the limit, and, like, in the meantime, like, you're building your brand, and, like, like you said, even, like, going somewhere on, like, TikTok, that has, like, a huge organic reach, like, naturally, and be able to help out, like, probably people from across the country or maybe even across the world that reach out, and be like, oh yeah, I did this way, or, like, this came up and I did this. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Social media is really, really powerful, but it is very difficult. It's very time consuming. I mean, creating content itself, like, dude, I definitely praise you on creating podcasts, because they do take time. And creating content in general, dude, it's definitely a full-time job to do that. And if someone's pumping out a lot of content. Either they have someone hired or they're not really doing what they're saying they're doing, because they wouldn't have enough time. They wouldn't have enough time to be posting content consistently on all platforms and being able to actually do the work involved that they're saying they're doing, right? Like these gurus per se. Yeah. Either they have someone hired that's doing it, or they're not actually doing the work they're saying they're doing, really. And that's how I see it. And otherwise, like it's just so much work. Like I take a whole day once a week, all day, to create content. And that's a lot on my schedule to really do it, but it's so worthwhile because, again, that's something that I enjoy doing. I get a lot of value from being able to provide that education to the masses. But there's even then, like that's primarily just doing podcasts and just creating and posting TikToks essentially. And like if I wanted to add in, like, which I'm trying to do now, add in like Instagram and continuously posting on other platforms as well, like Facebook, Twitter, the whole nine, that would be another day most likely, you know. And like that's a lot. I have an intern too that's helping me with this stuff. I mean, she just left, but even then, like I was still, and she was doing some of it as well, but I was still putting a day in once a week to create this stuff. But it's worthwhile because the power of building a community on social media is absolutely incredible. The sky's the limit. Once you have the deal, and then once you have the community, those are the two main things that I'm primarily focusing on right now, is finding crazy off-market investment opportunities, and then also trying to create a community, because those two things is going to really help elevate everything I'm trying to achieve. Because if I have a good community, you know, having the brokerage, new real estate agents that are getting involved, even experienced and aged realtors will want to come on board and work with me because I'm present. I'm here. I'm new age. I got all the technology. I'm really helping the agents out, and they'll know about me because my face will be plastered everywhere. I'll have the community. I'll have that voice. Yeah. So it'll go hand in hand with trying to really achieve the vision as well. So, I mean, building a community is everything, and social media is really the weapon to be able to do so.
It really is. You know, like especially in today's day and age, you know, like social media is free. You know, like what you use is your time. Like, it's not like, you know, you have to pay like a subscription service for Instagram or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like anybody can be the broadcaster. And like, it's kind of interesting to think about things like, you know, 20 or 30 years ago, where like, you know, the internet and social media and stuff wasn't there. Like, I couldn't even really imagine, you know, trying to, you know, like buy like a lot of properties and stuff like that. And like, imagine trying to buy something like out of state, like 20 or 30 years ago. Well, you know, like it's not like you can just hop on like Biggerpockets and look for an agent out there. Like, you know, do you actually have to like fly out there and like, you know, find an agent and like get pre-approved and spend like a week of your time out there or something? You know, now like, you know, people buy properties and stuff like sight unseen, like across the country, you know, like it's crazy. Like just like how we have it now, like in today's day and age. And even like, I guess how easy it is to build a brand, you know, because you can broadcast like any time of the day, night, anywhere, you know, if you got an internet connection, like, you know, you're in the same playing field as everybody else, you know. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty surprising, like how long like it takes and stuff to create content and social media. And like, you know, like it seems so simple, like you just hop on Instagram for a little bit, you know, it takes like 10 minutes or whatever. And yeah, but like actually creating content's a whole nother story. You know?
Yeah, realistically, it really is. And I plan on next year hiring someone full time to take care of that for me. Realistically, you need it. You got to have someone. If you want to build a real community online, you want to be able to really provide value on a high level, you got to have someone full time on it. And I'm factoring that in. Like it's essential. You know, for the future of what I want to achieve, that is absolutely essential to have someone full time on that. I plan on getting a new office, having a whole room just for podcasts, just for shooting content, just for that alone. I already kind of have one now, but it's still like multi-use right now. But I plan on having one just for that, just because like you and I both know, and the listeners probably know as well. Like the power of it is incredible, and it just opens up the doors for sure. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
It really does, man. I totally agree with you. Like I kind of did some reevaluating recently when it comes to like, you know, the vision and stuff for the podcast. And like, I feel like I've been stuck for a long time, like in terms of like the social media and stuff. And I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, of course.
All right. Sweet. But yeah, guys, he's basically like you know, a like really big entrepreneur. He has like a marketing company and like a wine company and like doing all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, on Instagram, Facebook, like literally everywhere. And basically like one thing that I learned from him that I really want to implement is like the waterfall type of strategy. So
Mhm.
basically like what he does, guys, is he'll do like a keynote speech or something like that. And the keynote speech will be recorded and there'll be like, you know, tons and tons of value like all across that speech. So he has like, you know, like a 1-2 hour clip. And then he has people on his marketing team like cut up that video into like a bajillion pieces, you know, like make like, you know, clips with quotes for like Instagram and stuff, like YouTube clips, TikTok, like, you know, Pinterest, like just spread it out everywhere. So like you only have to make that one video and then people literally just like, you know, create like these much smaller, much more digestible pieces to be able to post all over the place. You know, and then like your face is plastered like a million places, but you only did the talk once. I'm like, I'm so fascinated with that concept and like, you know,
That was my same thoughts on building my podcast as well. I was like, all right, so podcast is long form. You know, we put that on YouTube, even though it won't be really YouTube friendly. We could put it there. We could put it on Spotify and the whole nine in terms of podcast stations, which I'm sure you do. And then it's like, all right, now what is good for Instagram? All right, so I'm going to cut off. I'm going to ask a question, and then my interviewee is going to answer it, and that's a clip right there. Boom,
yeah,
perfect for Instagram, perfect for Facebook. You're done. Even for TikTok too. I mean, Reels as well. Like those are if they're short enough, they're good for it as well. You know, and I've been implementing that same strategy, and it works really well. It makes it a lot easier. I mean, once you already have, you know, right now we're creating content essentially. So now you have the content. Right now it's all about I can just chop it up now instead of sitting down. All right, I got to create content. I got to come up with a storyline or like a script per se, and then I got to create the content, and then I got to chop it up and fix it and clean it, and now I got to post it. Or it's like I already have the long form content. Let's just cut it up, clean it up, and then post it. And then that obviously makes it a lot easier. Even in your editing process of your podcast, you know, what I've been implementing is in my editing of my podcast, I also am creating clips throughout that process to make it easier. Like, so I'm going through and I'm cutting, you know, when as the interviewer asking the question and then the interviewee answering it, clipping that and taking that and putting it in a different folder, and then, you know, going back to it eventually where I can now upload that wherever I want at that time being, and then just resizing the format for it so it makes sense for that platform real quickly and easily. I don't know about what you use. I use Final Cut. It works really well for me. That's just what I'm savvy with. I'm used to. I've got educated on.
yeah,
But they all work for it, you know.
exactly. Yeah, I use Adobe Premiere.
Yep.
That it's just been kind of working out pretty decent. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. And like one thing that he says along with like the waterfall strategy was that like social media platforms have context. So like something that you post on LinkedIn, you know, might not be the place for Instagram or like vice versa. And like I haven't really like been able to, I guess, really like understand and execute on that idea. You know, I just kind of like, you know, make a clip and post it. But, you know, and the bigger reality is like, you know, like if you're feeling like a certain way, you know, you're going to go on Instagram versus like LinkedIn. You know, like if, you know, like depending on probably like the mood and stuff like that. And I don't know, you know, I mean, like if you hop on Facebook, like the kind of things that you're looking for are going to be different than like TikTok. You know, like if you're looking to laugh, like you're probably not going to go on LinkedIn, you know, like,
Right. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I think what it comes down to is if I was you, I would choose one platform to start making content for specifically. So, you know, like, all right, so I'm going to go on Instagram and chop up this and make it good for Instagram, and then get really good at that and build a system around it. So it's super easy. Right. So it's like, all right, I want a 60-minute clip of this, that, or the other thing throughout my podcast. And now I'll go, while I'm doing my podcast, now I'll implement that as well. So my mind will be, all right, I want this clip, this
yeah,
example of a clip that I want to create. And now while I'm in the podcast, I can kind of like format it so it makes sense for that. You know, the one thing I love about creating long form and chopping up into short form, I'm actually reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book right now, Crushing It, with the
nice.
newest one with exclamation point. And, you know, one of the chapters is about authenticity. And I think podcasts are super authentic because, you know, you're not sitting down and trying to create content. You're just having a conversation, really. I mean,
Yeah,
it depends. I mean, some people can try to force it, but at the end of the day, like, you're having a conversation. This isn't scripted. We didn't
you're
sit
right.
down and, you know, I didn't write down all my answers to my questions and sat
Yeah,
down and formulated the plan to how I want to say it. This is authentic. This is coming from, really what my thoughts are telling me to say, and I feel like a lot of social media is unauthentic, where it's especially like Instagram and Facebook. It's very scripted. It's very clean cut. And where podcasts are a little bit more less of that. It's more real. We're just having a conversation and we're recording it and giving it to the masses. And now you're able to take that, create short form and putting it on these platforms. It's kind of like a game change there, because people are used to seeing this like clean cut stuff. And now we got some authentic stuff. These people are real, just having a good conversation. And I want to listen in. So I think it's a different dynamic change there. And your audience feels that. I feel like people know if this is fine-tuned and scripted, or if this is a real, just talking, it's different there, and when people feel that it's not authentic, they kind of know something's up there, and it just throws them off.
Exactly. Like, I feel like you can totally tell, like you said, from that outside perspective, like, this is like too perfect to be real. And like me personally, like, I like to really tap into, that authentic factor. Is like, hey, like, this is gonna be like the journey of becoming, so-and-so, and like, I don't know, like, I almost like don't want it to be perfect. Like, same thing with like when I'm editing the podcast, like every time I say, I'm not going to cut it out, like, like I'm not a pro, like podcaster, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to kind of see the progression of like episode 1, like being absolutely clueless on, what the heck I'm doing. And then like later down the line, just kind of see like improvement there, and like, because like I feel like that's the thing, man, is like nothing's really going to be perfect. At the very least, starting off the bat, so like I feel like it's a lot more relatable to be more authentic and have it be less perfect than just be like, spend like 3 hours cutting out all like the, little words and spots where like you're not sure what to say and stuff. And like, I don't know, I feel like it means a lot more, and even to maybe like inspire somebody, to start a podcast or start like a YouTube channel, or because like they might be afraid of coming off a lot more on the less experienced side. Like, no, well, everybody's going to start somewhere, and I feel like to kind of be the guy or girl or whatever, to start your thing, knowing that it might be shit at first, but like down the line, things are going to get better over time, and like just to kind of show them like, hey, like, if you have an idea, run for it. And, it's not going to be the best, starting off, but down the line, it'll be a lot better than when you started. And yeah, just to kind of, push that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So one of my core values in my company that like we try to strive ourselves on is take massive, decisive, imperfect action. So you're taking a massive amount of action. You're taking decisive. So you're when you have a decision in front of you, either A or B, you're just taking one, because when you choose one, it's either right or wrong. Now, if you wait and sit around and wait too long, then you'll never know. Right. So then knowing that it's going to be imperfect every time, like you're never going to be perfect off the first time. And again, like we talked on earlier, if it's perfect the first time, realistically, that's not a good thing. You lost because you didn't learn. So you just got to take that. You got to understand that it's going to be imperfect and take massive, decisive, imperfect action.
All right, guys, that concludes our Creating Wealth podcast episode for today. I want to thank every single person that has listened this far. It really means a lot to know that people can learn from me and with me as we build wealth together. Hopefully you can take home at least one thing from this podcast that will improve your life just a little bit. If you could, please check me out on social. That's at Kyle Curtin Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm on Biggerpockets. Until next time, let's build together.